Good afternoon, students. This is Rekha Matthew from Maharani's Arts College for Women. Today I am discussing the short story The Vice Principal, written by Hushag Muradi Kermani. Kermani is an Iranian writer. This story has been prescribed for the final year optional English students of University of Mysore, paper 9, QP code 11809. This short story is selected from the Stories of Maajid, which is a collection of short stories. This has been made into television series. It is comparable to Malgudi Days, which is hugely popular in India. We all know about Malgudi Days. We also have read the novel Swami and Friends. So, in the same way, Stories of Maajid has been hugely successful and popular in Iran. The boy hero Maajid is a household name in Iran. As we read this story, we find the setting of a classroom. It is a very humorous story, and as I mentioned before, it is very easy to understand and read. The story also throws light on the oppressive educational system, the authority which the teachers have on students and on society. There are a few characters in this story. Majid, the school boy, is the major character. There is also the vice principal and the grandmother of Majid, the principal, Mr. Hosseini, and the bookseller, and also the clothes seller. And there is a character about whom others mention in the story, and his name is Sadak Hidayat. He does not appear in the story, but the characters of the story comment on him. Majid is an orphan. He is looked after by his grandmother since both his parents are dead. Majid is a very naughty boy. He is truant but very resourceful. He dreams of being a writer when he grows up. He is very good at composition. That is the subject he likes most. And when we read the story, we know that he waits for the composition classes, which is on every Monday. He waits for the class because he likes it very much. And we also know that he is a very good reader. He keeps reading a lot of books. He saves money which his grandmother and relatives give him, and he buys books with that. So he has every characteristic of growing into a writer. When the story begins, as I mentioned before, we get the setting of a classroom in which the students are making a lot of noise. They are throwing things at one another, they are jumping on one another, and this noise is heard by vice principal who is supervising, who is walking around in the school, and he listening to the noise that is emerging out of Majid's class, comes to see what is happening there. The vice principal walks inside the classroom and asks the students the reason for being so noisy. He comes to know that there is no teacher in the classroom, asks the students whose class they had. The students respond that Mr. Hosseini is not taking any classes nowadays. So they feel that he has been transferred somewhere else. Mr. Hosseini had to take the class. So vice principal tells them that he'll be taking Mr. Hosseini's class from then onwards, and gives them a topic to write their composition. The topic given by him is who renders the greatest service to mankind. So the children have some doubts regarding what they should write. Will the vice principal give more information regarding their role model? But the vice principal tells them that the students have freedom to choose whoever they think has impressed them by their service to mankind. They have every liberty to choose whoever they like. So the children go home, write their composition. In the next class, Majid gets a chance to read his composition, and he starts reading from his book. In the text that you have, Majid's essay is given in italicized print. In Majid's opinion, the body washer serves the society best. The body washer is the one who bathes and dresses the dead bodies and prepares them for funeral. Here, Majid chooses body washer, whereas the other students are normally students who choose doctor, or teacher or policeman, who have respectable positions in society. But Majid gives a reason why he is choosing body washer among others. He gives the reason as follows. He says that he chooses the body washer among others because, despite the fact that everyone needs the service of the body washer, no one really likes him. We all, after our death, will be needing the services of this body washer. So, nobody is grateful or thankful to the services which the body washer gives. Instead, we think about him as an ill omen. People avoid looking at him, talking to him. They consider him very disgraceful. People don't appreciate his work. In fact, people are afraid of him. They avoid him in public places. And if the body washer one day doesn't do his job, there will not be anybody who will be willing to take that place. Majid, to write his composition, has made a case study of Kal Asgar and his wife Leela, who are the body washers in their town. Majid, after making necessary study, he has come to know that the shop keepers do not sell any goods to them because they are afraid of the hands of the body washer, and the policemen avoid them. When Kal Asgar moves in his bicycle, the policemen turn away their heads from him. Even if he commits some offense, they don't punish him. And talking about his daughters, Kal Asgar's daughters, Majid tells us that they are very beautiful. They radiate beauty like the full moon, but nobody wants to get married to them because they think it is a disgrace to them if they have any marital relationship with the family of a body washer. The body washer also know that people ill treat them, neglect them, they consider them disgrace. Even then, body washer does his job expertly without any remorse. As Majid reads his composition, the vice principal gets more irritated, angry, and upset. The reason for this is the vice principal had expected Majid would be reading about some what is called a noble profession of that of a doctor or a teacher or policeman, but he reads something which people don't like to think of. So the vice principal scolds Majid, calls him jackass with a defective mind. So he asks him what nonsense you have written, and vice principal in fact gives a definition of what a good writer should do. According to vice principal, a writer should have a gentle soul. He should talk about beautiful things like roses, plants, moths, love, kindness, forgiveness, self sacrifice, and he should not write anything about such mean things such as body washer and grave diggers. And the readers must note at this point that Majid has been very sensitive, gentle, and kind in his portrayal of the body washer, because Majid can think what are the difficulties of a person like a body washer has, and what are the problems that he faces, the social problems he faces in his life, and he is sensitive to those. Therefore, his portrayal of the body washer has in fact been very sensitive and very kind. The vice principal asked Majid whether he had been reading Sadak Hidayat. Now, Sadak Hidayat is a revolutionary writer who wrote about the people belonging to the lower classes. I'm here reminded of the novel Untouchable, where Mulk Raj Anand makes Baka the hero of that novel. Baka is an untouchable. Now, in those days in India, we did not have novels in which the main characters belong to the lower class. In the same manner, in Iran also, a hero should be noble by birth. He should not have any mean jobs like a body washer has. Therefore, Sadak Hidayat was not liked by the upper caste people. That is why here the vice principal asks him whether Majid has been reading any books written by Sadak Hidayat. Sadak Hidayat wrote about the sufferings of low caste people. Vice principal did not like this author since Majid is reading Sadak Hidayat's novels. That is what one of his classmates tells vice principal. He gets more irritated, and vice principal punishes Majid by hitting him very hard and also making him stand for an entire period. In spite of Majid requesting many times, vice principal doesn't give him permission to sit down. Then finally, at the end of the hour, vice principal asks him to bring his parents to take the file home. It means that he is going to dismiss Majid from the school. So they should take away the records. Majid reaches home. His grandmother notices that something is wrong with the boy. She asks him what is wrong, but Majid hesitates to tell her anything because he does not want to hurt the old woman. He, after several requests, finally he tells the grandmother that the next day grandmother should go to the school. The next morning, very early in the morning, Majid goes to meet Mr. Hosini, his old composition teacher. Majid tells Mr. Hosini what happened at school. Mr. Hosini asks several questions. He understands what happened in the school, yeah, and then he consoles Majid by telling him that the principal is a good person and vice principal is very strict. And unless being strict, he cannot manage the school. That is why he keeps hitting students all the time. So Mr. Hosseini comforts him by telling him that he should go back to school in 2 hours, and that he will call and tell the principal about him. Then as Hosseini tells him to go only after 2 hours, Majid has to spend the first 2 hours somewhere else. So he starts riding his bicycle and reaches the coppersmith's bazaar to spend some time there. There, Majid happens to see an apprentice. Uh, An apprentice is somebody who is learning a trade. In this case, the apprentice wants to become a coppersmith in future. Majid feels very sorry for this apprentice. He describes the apprentice in the following words: a boy of my size with a ragged appearance, dirty hands and face. Majid realizes that if he is kicked out of school, he would end up being an apprentice. On the other hand, if the apprentice had a chance to study, he would have become as good as him. So, Majid is filled with pity when he looks at the apprentice. If Majid is kicked out of the school, he has no option but to become an apprentice just like this boy. And on the other hand, Majid also understands or realizes that if this boy, the apprentice, had the opportunity to continue his education, he would have become just like Majid. So, education is something which can bring about changes in the lives of people. Majid knows the importance of education and wants to be at school at any cost. Out of pity for the apprentice, Majid tries to help the boy by helping him in doing whatever he was doing there. But the boss of the apprentice shouts at him for taking Majid's help. Majid doesn't want the boy to get punishment, so he immediately goes away from there. As Majid is wandering in the streets, his grandmother goes to school. The vice principal who meets her tells her everything about composition. Since Majid is not at school, Granny goes in search for him and finds the bookseller shop. She mistakes the bookseller to be Sadak Hidayat, who has been making whose books have been making Majid write compositions such as on the body washer. So she becomes angry with the bookseller and starts to quarrel with him. Granny blames the bookseller for ruining Majid's mind. It is he who made Majid completely perverted, she blames. The cloth seller who watches all this tells Granny that the old bookseller is not Sadak Hidayat. Maybe there is some other shopkeeper on the other end of the road and he must be Sadak Hidayat. So Granny should go there and inquire. At this time, the old bookseller figures out what is happening. He tells Granny that Sadak Hidayat is a writer and he passed away a few years ago. So there is no point in looking for him. At this time, Majid comes and pulls Granny from there. Granny shouts at him, asks him where he had been all this while. Later, Granny and Majid, both of them, reach school. They both apologize. Majid writes a letter promising that he will not violate the order and discipline of the classroom. He will not disrupt the class, nor will he be disrespectful to the teachers. So, Majid, as I mentioned earlier, has understood the value of education very well. He does not want to be out of school. He wants to continue his education at any cost. Therefore, it doesn't bother him whether he writes an apology letter or not. If it had to be done, he was ready to do it. Thus, Majid gets permission to attend the classes once again. So, this has been the summary of Vice Principal. Now, when we try to analyze the story, we know that Majid has written the essay in a very good manner. It is a masterpiece of imagination, and as pointed out by Majid, body washer is someone who deserves our appreciation because he does great service to mankind, but society does not respect him. He is just like the untouchables of India. Though they do the most essential work of cleaning up the toilets, they are not respected. People don't even look at them, they don't even consider them as human beings, they are ill treated as animals. So Majid carefully selects the topic of his essay from the marginalized section of society, and he has highlighted the service they do to mankind, yet how they receive humiliation at our hands. Majid goes against the norms of civilized society by making unconventional choice. Unconventional means not a routine. It is not normal. It is against. It is opposite of normal. Normally, when children are asked, "Who will you become in future?" or "Who has inspired you in your life?" or "Who serves the society the best?" the answer we get from them is doctor, engineer, policeman, teacher. But Majid chooses from the lower class or from the marginalized, despised section of society. That is why the vice principal doesn't like the essay written by Majid. He belongs to the higher class. He does not recognize the service of the body washer as a work or service. He thinks they are destined to do it. They are not even animals. They are not even human beings. Therefore, he cannot appreciate what Majid does. And through this story, the writer throws light on the oppression in society, in the educational system, how people belonging to higher class ill treat the ones belonging to the lower class, how they are denied even chance to live their life, marry their daughters. So through a very sensitive kind of portrayal, the author is successful in doing this. Thank you.